There we go. We are live once again. This is our day 9, I believe it is. Let's see. Yes, I decided to just use my own save, and I'm using my test character, and I'm just going to move into a leveling area I made, prepared ahead of time, so we wouldn't have to waste too much time in the game. Me just mining wood, mining stone, wood, and so on, and build a little thing. So I have my little training area here, a little you can call it a little dojo area, where we can test our automation and see how it goes. As you may or may not know, we are working on an app named Automate Me. That's the name. It's a macro recording tool, and a macro is basically you can say you're recording your keys and mouse movements basically, and then play it back over and over if you want, or just one time. And our goal for the 2 weeks we are running this project, with less than 1 week remaining, is to have a core, simple, functional macro recording tool. So I'm excited to see if we can actually manage to do that by the end of the second and last week. And after that, we will jump on to Godot engine related stuff. And more specifically, I'm going to set up and figure out how the multiplayer server and client can work together and go from there. Basically, it'll basically be pretty much a learn with Ivan series or something like that. I don't know, because I will also be learning while we do it. But let's continue. We have a rock, and for me to level up, I have to keep hitting the rock, and so on and so on. As you can see now, our skill improved to 6. So once we have automated this, I also want to go here to the left side, hit the repair button, and go back again. Now in this case, this is a forge, and forges you cannot repair and hammer there. I should probably fix that, but we'll take that once we get so far. First, we need to fix a few issues we have on our little springboard here. Oops. Back here, where are you? Where did you go? There you are. Excellent. Let's see here. We need to fix the playback of our macro action list if the issue is caused by the app. We have to find a cause for our inconsistency during the macro playback. And I suspect we did find the cause. I suspect the only press once annotation we have created, whose single role is to prevent us from holding A too long. It's basically just going to make sure it only triggers 1 until you release it and press it again. Because currently, the way our listener working, the dependency we're using called JNative hook, it is listening constantly when holding down A. It basically triggers an event of pressing A over and over again, even though in reality, that's not how the world works. You're pressing A one time, and you cannot press A again until you release it, which means the order of events should be press button, release button, not press button at 1,000 times and then release button. That's so stupid. That's my biggest pet peeve about the dependency we're using. And that's what the fix is doing, the only press 1 annotation here. So let's jump into it. Let's fix our code here. Once I can get the code on the screen, which it is now. Ice cold coffee. Okay, so let me make sure everything is okay here. Can I get the thing up? 1 second, please. 1 second. Let me. There. I had to do something stream related. Okay, let's fix. Let's code. This is a mess. We pretty much turned this into a prototype in order to change the way we handle our macro action playback. This class, the macro player, is in charge of making sure that we basically play back the sequence of event that we have previously recorded in another class called the macro recorder, which makes sense. You have a macro recorder, you have a mac player. The player plays the recording that the macro recorder did, so it just works in harmony. But we still have to figure out how to do this, because currently we're using a very bad, we're doing something really bad using sleep here. We don't want to use sleep. We want to find a better way of doing that without halting the thread this is running on, which is, we're starting right there. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to refactor this without changing anything, because I know this kind of sort of works, but not as well as we would want it to. And there is currently a bug with the playback, and I haven't figured out what the cause of that is. Let's see. Have I done anything since last time? What is the difference here in the macro player? We have no difference. Okay. Apparently there's a tab change here. Let's see. Okay, it's fixed. So let's create a new class here. We want this to be in a class. Let me drag this up so we see a little more of our project tree here. How are we going to separate this further? We are in the macro player, so it does make sense that this takes hand of this. However, the macro player needs possibly a thread. That's what we're using right now, and we will go from there and see if we can improve it as we go along. I mean, that's what coding is all about. Implement feature, refactor, test, fixing, in whatever random order. Hopefully testing first, and then, you know. So let's remove the comments. Let's remove unused code. And let us make this more readable. Move these as well. This was the old way of doing things. We actually used a scheduled executor service, but that does not work. And I just have a realization. The reason this might not have worked is because of the previous issue we had when pressing the A button. With the A listener keep going and going and going forever and ever. And if that's the case, it may be that the schedule macro action might work. But no, let's not go that route. Let me remove that, and we will find out a different way of doing it. Let's see, in our play method, let me remove this one as well. We're creating a class basically here, an implementation of the runnable. So let's start by doing that. Let's create a new sort of runner, I guess. So let's add a new class. Let's name this the macro player runner, I guess. And that, if you can just copy this, make it a little simple here. Implement the thing. Need. Go back to our player. Let's get all of this logic out of here and find out what we need to put in here. We probably need some certain access to certain things. Let's start by getting the global macro state. Let's create a constructor. Let's take it in there. Now in this class we don't need any Spring context, which is nice, but we do need a global macro state. So let's create a private. Let's try final and see if that would work with this. Now let us try a macro private list of our macro action, which is our macro action list. Now this may also be private, possibly. I have to see how I'm going to be doing this. So let's see here. Let me add a sneaker throws annotation, which is provided by Lombok, in case you're curious. Lombok has all the nice features we're using throughout this project. Well, not all, but all the nice ones. Let's add a required Rx constructor and see if with this will work, or if we need to change something. Let's now go to our macro action runner and see what's here. Nothing here. Play runner. Why is it red? I don't know why it's red, but let's go back to our players here. So now we have a runnable in a sense. We don't need this one. We can just create a new one. Let's create a player runner, and that one needed the global macro state, and it needed our list. Where did the list from? From the play method. So let's send that in as well. So every time we press in the play button, the shortcut, the API call, whatever, it's going to go through here once every time you click or press, whatever. If you are now in a stopped state, meaning you're not recording, you're not playing back in the recording, you're not doing anything, you're just idle pretty much, then we are going to be playing our last recording. And the last recording is just the macro action list we got in here. But I want to change this because we have no idea in the future if this is going to be the last recording. Maybe it's the first one, maybe we have multiple ones, I don't know. So playing recording, playing the record, playing the recording, I guess. Once we start playing the recording, we're also going to change our state to playing, so all the other components in our universe knows about it, or context, I guess. We are then instantiating a new player runner with the updated information. We're sending the global macro state as a variable in here, a macro action list also as a variable in here, and that will allow it to use them once we hit the run. And we hit the run once we start the thread. We are also currently assigned the thread to our class level, but we may or may not need that, or we may change this to always keep these memories and reuse the same one, and simply update the macro action list. And I think that would be a better way of doing this, because currently we're doing a lot of repeating, I guess. So how could we improve on this? Well, if we did this part at least just once in our lifetime, can we do that? Well, the global macro state is a component. If we were to create the player runner as a component, it would get it by default, so we wouldn't have to instantiate it anywhere, and we can use it along the lines of our global macro state and hit the key press maintainer. So let's do that. Let's remove this. Let's try to turn it into a component. The component being our player runner. Currently, this is not going to work because it's not a component. We need to add a component annotation or service or whatever. As long as you turn it into a Spring Bean, it will work. Now this is a component, it's not a service or a REST controller or whatever. So this should be fine, but this part is not going to work, so we have to remove that. We have to make a few changes. We have to tell it to update the list. We still need the list on our class level, but we can create a new function we can call. That can be initiate, and take in our list of macro actions. Once that is done, you can run the runner in a thread and it will find the macro action list that has been set. So let's go back to our macro player. Let us change this now. Let's add the player runner in here. And let's make sure to actually set the macro action list. But init is kind of a bad name in this case, because we're not really initiating the player runner. We are updating the values we want to run, the macro action list. Now, I don't know what I would name it though. Would I name something different? I don't know. We have a player runner we want to update. Maybe update would be the name. Update with. Update with, that's a better name. That's more, it explains more than initiate it does. It with the context, it makes more sense. You would more intuitively have an idea what it would do. Probably not perfect, but certainly it's better than initiate. So before we're running, we have to make sure it's not null. If this is null, I wonder what will happen if this is null. I want to do a test here. Let's see, list. Let's make a class test. In this class, we're gonna have a string name. I'm gonna make it public to make it easier to manipulate. Let's make it test there. Test, list of test. I'm just gonna do a quick test to figure out what will happen if we send in null in a for each. I don't need this. Okay, for each test, key in test. Let's something. But now it's gonna work, I hope. It's not gonna be anything because it's empty. But it's not gonna crash or burn. Right? Did it work? Let's see. Try again. Control Shift F10. Starting. Yeah, it works. Let's now set this to null and see what happens. Because I honestly don't know. Control Shift F10 to run again. And we get an exception. So we do get a null pointer exception if we throw a null in it for each. And that's good to know. I was not entirely sure of that. I mean, I had my suspicion, but now I know for sure. Let's delete the scratch file here. And let's handle that. Yeah, simple, but let's do a log also. Yep. Okay, that's that. Let's go back to our runner and the player and see what we have. Now, once we start the play method, we're gonna check if we're stopped. If we are stopped and can play, we're gonna change our state to playing. We're gonna update our player runner with the macro action list, and then we're gonna start the thread we create. Now this seems a bit convoluted. Maybe I can turn this into a thread instead and just use that. I'm thinking. Let's try that actually. I don't usually work with threads a lot. But hold on, wait. No. We don't want to do that, do we? I'll leave this for now. It's certainly more readable than before, but it's not done, that's for sure. Let's see here. And once you have pressed start, it's gonna run it in its own thread. Basically, you're gonna end this method. So when you press it again, whether or not this is running, who knows? But if you're pressing again, you're not gonna get in here because you are playing. And you will change this, hopefully at the end of the run here. Yes, right there. So once you hit the end here, which means you have actually queued up and performed all the macro actions we have recorded, it should change this again. Now one issue we have so far is there is a bug somewhere with this. If I were to play and stop and play again, it's not recognizing it. I'm not sure what it is. I am pretty sure it has something to do with the threads here we're using, rather this thread itself. Even though it shouldn't be possible, because you shouldn't even get here before the thread is finished, ended. Let's try. Let's do some testing here. Let me play the application. Run the test first, just for fun. Let's see if something breaks. Let's see. Macro action now also expect a player runner, so let's just give it a empty player runner. This is the downside by testing or Spring applications. You may end up with several arguments in each constructor. You know what? I can put this in. There we go. Let's try it again. Yes, good. We're still ignoring this one though, because this is the one we're not finished with. We need to get the player runner to behave the way we want to, at least. And it's very difficult to functionally test a recording app. Let's open Valheim. Let's do some cheating here. Let's change the day here. Time of day 0.5, I think. Yes, that's the one. Okay, pressing F9 to start recording. Before that, I'm gonna get my club. Pressing F9. Now, let's press a few times. Okay, stopping, do a jump, and press F9 to stop. Now, I'm going to press F10, which is the key we used for our playback. It's playing back now. It's supposed to play back. But it doesn't work, because we are not recording the mouse. I'm so dumb at this point. Let's do it one more time here. Yeah, let's just... Okay, now it's done. Let's jump a few times after starting the recording here. Recording now. Jumping, moving a little bit, you know, a little here, a little there. Okay, stop at the same place, F9. Let's now press F10 and see if it moves. It should move now because I used only the keyboard. But it's broken. Something is broken here. It says playing recording, but it's not actually playing recording. So we have to find out what is breaking down. I suspect it has something to do with the first macro action delay or time difference. I suspect. I think it may be a bug there. It says playing recording. It's supposed to do something, but it's still waiting. And there it started just now. So there's definitely something wrong either with the recording itself or the playback. But I'm going to check the recording before we now run here. I'm going to do a breakpoint at the place we get the macro action list. And right now I'm just waiting for the stopped recording part here. It doesn't seem to end. There it is. It's definitely unpredictable right now, so I have to check the list we're recording. So I'm going to make a breakpoint here. Let's see if there are other breakpoints we should keep an eye on. If I remember how to do that. No, I don't. Here. View breakpoints, there it is. Okay, this is the only one we have right now, and that's what we want. So let's stop. Let's play it again and see if we get anywhere. Okay, F9. Now we're doing recording, you know, jumping a little bit. Moving left, moving right. Why am I? Oh yeah, it's because of the smoke. And it doesn't like jumping because there's smoke in the air. Okay, jumping one more time. 30. F9. And now let's wait a little bit. Wait a little bit and see if something changes. I'm not gonna press F10 yet. I'm gonna wait a little bit and see if it starts immediately. If it starts immediately, it means you're not clearing the list for the next playback, or something like that. Or it may mean that the playback itself is not correct, working correctly. Let's see. F10 now. Okay, we got to the breakpoint. Let's see what's here. Now there we go. Alt F8. Control Enter to see it's empty. Really? Oh yeah. That's not the one I want to check. I want to check the input there. Here we go. Space, 80, space, and F9. That's not good. Why is this here? I thought I filtered this. Okay, I'm gonna add a new to-do here. Let's see. Or rather a note as a result of this. Okay. Let's take a look at the first one. That's the one that takes the longest time. This is about 0.8 seconds. This is 0.2 and so on. Now the last key has an enormous delay for whatever reason. This is a bug. I don't know why this is here, how it got there. But this is definitely not supposed to be here. And how is the delay? Oh yeah, what? Okay, let's keep a note on this one. Let's close. I'm gonna press F9 to continue in the Actually, no, I'm not gonna press F9. I'm just gonna hit the play button here. Where is F9? Shift. This one? Really? There's no... Okay, F8, I think. F8. Oh, play. As you can see, I'm not really good at debugging. Okay, it's playing back right away. But it's gonna wait now a bit until we press F9 at the end there. For whatever reason, it's 13 seconds, and we did not wait that long. We waited that long to hit the play button. Yes, that would make sense. So, no, it doesn't make sense. That's a problem right now. It doesn't make sense. Is it done? I don't know. Can we take a peek at the logging? The peek at the logging? No. Jesus. Good thing I suck at debugging. It means I don't have to do it a lot, I guess. That's my badge of honor from this. Okay, I'm gonna press F10 to play again. Now we get to enter list again. So let's take a look and see what's in here. Macro action list. Let's see, 27. First one is the same. That's good. What's with the last one? The last one is also the same, but it's very, very long. Let's do a new recording because I have no idea why this is the case. I'm waiting for it to finish. I'm not the one playing. I'm not the one doing anything now. It's just doing itself. Okay. So I'm going to find my console. There it is. It's still playing back, apparently. So let's wait 13 seconds until there it is. It stopped playback. Okay, recording a new one. F9, start. Start and record. Okay, left, right, F9. Stop recording is what it should do. So I'm gonna press F10 in about 8 more seconds or so. Okay, F10. Now we are in our update width again to check the breakpoint. Alt F8 and take a look at what we have in our macro action list here. We still have F9. We want to fix that. 4 seconds. Why is it so long? It's like the time from the... oh my god. What? What? Apparently... Can I get the calculator up here? How long is that? 260 seconds divided by 60. It's 4.3 minutes. That's how long it took for us to press the 80. From the beginning. It doesn't make sense. This is not how it should work. There is a bug somewhere, and I suspect it's in the recorder itself. Let's take a look. Find out what the heck it is, because I have no idea. Macro action runner. Where is it? Maybe it's something wrong with this one actually. Well, no. I don't think. No. We did test that. Listener, key listener. We have the subscriber and the macro recorded subscriber. So let's see. What's wrong? Something's wrong with this. I don't know, strange, very strange. Why would it happen? Something's wrong with this. If we don't have a previous macro action, wait a moment. Hold on here. No, we are deleting it. It is null. Okay, never mind. Never mind. False alarm. Oh, wait a moment. What's toggle? Stopping. Stop. Reset. Yeah. It should work. There's nothing. Okay. If this is the first event. The first key we're pressing here. Wait a moment. When are we deleting the... When are we cleaning the list from the horrible recorded events? Where is that done? And I'm talking about the shortcuts themselves. There we go. This happens at the end of our recording, so it should be fine. But it doesn't work. We don't filter. Let's see. If the raw code is equal to F9 or if it's equal to F10, we are supposed to delete it by filtering these. Wait. Maybe I should do inverted. Yeah, it cannot be or. No, it is right. If it is F9 or F10, we remove it from the list. But it may not work that way. Strange. Very strange. You change the state to start. You're then... Let's move that one step up there, see what's wrong here. I mean, we did test this. We know this is working. But for some reason there's an F9 that somehow managed to sneak itself in there at the end. Or at the beginning? Could it be at the beginning somehow? No. I refuse to believe that. Yeah, it mutates this. That's true. But yeah, there has to be something wrong with this one. Okay. This is calculating the difference between the previous action, the previous click. So from one to the other. So every time we click something, we record a new action, we add it to the list, and we set it as our previous action so we can refer to it once again when we hit the next key. When we hit the next key, it has passed some time here. This has increased. And the time this has increased between minus the previous time the other key had is the one that should be correct. I also noticed here, I'm doing something really bad here. I should set this in a variable at the beginning here. Long current time in MS. Because this should be the same. So it doesn't affect anything. Okay, let's see. Delay in milliseconds. This should be fine. It should work the way we want it to. Now the start time. Let's look at the start time. I mean, the mistake is in the beginning, right? Suddenly we have a key that took how long? 4 minutes until we pressed somehow in the beginning. How does that happen? I mean, the key is right, but not the time. So let's look at the start time. Where are we setting the start time and when are we clearing it? Are we clearing it? I don't know. We are setting it at the start. That's almost the first thing we do. We clear the list, so it's empty. We update the start time and we change to recording. And that's just the status itself, and then we start the recording. So by the time we add ourselves as a subscriber to the KeyPublisher, we have an empty action list. That's good. We have our start time. That's good. And we have set our recording. What if I move this, the previous action, to here? What if we move everything at the beginning? It should have the same effect as putting it at the end. So, but let's see. Stop recording. Then you remove it from the list. So we're no longer listening once that's done. We're unsubscribing. We're not receiving any more keys. Then you remove the shortcuts from recording. Now wait a moment. The F9. Yes. I suspect it may be because of this. We need to wait, actually. We need to wait for this to finish, I think. So when we stop, we need to wait for the stop recording to finish, and once that finishes, we keep moving here. How are we going to do that? I need to get something from it. I need to Stop recording. And then remove shortcuts. Stop recording and then remove. Now this is a different issue, but it's a issue we have, so let's see. Once this is done, removing ourselves can be done even while this is running. In the loop, how do we prevent ourselves from finishing and this is not this is a challenge. I guess I can create a boolean. No, 2 booleans. It would be a horrible way to do it. Let's this is definitely a hack. Let's at least see if we're on the right track here. This is not something I would want to do. Okay, so while this is in the case, so now it's going to be pressed is false. As much as it sucks, that's the way. And pressed is true. And then we have to find a better way of doing this because it's not good. Don't follow this example by all means. Don't. I mean seriously, don't. We have to instead find out how we can do this properly. We have release true, we have release false, we have press true, we have release false. So we know when it's beginning, we know when it's the end. So while not before, it should be after here. While released is true, as long as either is true, both has to be false, right? So while release is true or press is true, then try a little, find out a better, proper way of handling this. Should I do a sleep here? I guess we can do a small sleep. It's gonna loop throughout this horrible, horrible sleep. And this way, at least, we should not get any F9 sneaking in, and then we'll look and see how we can actually properly handle that, you know? I don't like it, but it should, in theory, work. Yeah, because release, once you remove it, it's not gonna get here anymore. Because once you hit the end, it's false. Same with the other one. It will work, even though it's really hacky. I guess hacky is what we should go for nowadays, because we only have a few days more for this project until we go back to Godot Engine. Should put an alarm on every time I say Godot Engine, just to... Yeah. F9. Left, right, jump. Jump. And F9, stop. Let's see, look here. Am I debugging this? I don't think I'm debugging this, am I? Stopping and debugging once again. So now we need to do another thing here. Where was it? With this one. Yeah, we're still breakpoint there. That's good. Okay, F9, recording. Jump. I moved the mouse a little bit. That was not on purpose. Hopefully it doesn't affect much. Stopping. And now hit the playing. Hitting play, I mean. Hitting play. Nothing's happening. Why is that? F10 is not working. Let's see, why is that? Let's see, why is that? Wait, why am I using... No! Yes. Wait. Because we're stuck here forever now. Why is this not happening? But that should be false by default, right? Yeah, it's false. As long as either is true, you do this forever and ever. Okay, so there's something I have to fix. It's not easy. Has to be a solution to this. maybe I need to think about this a little bit here. Okay, let's I guess we can take a few steps back here and reevaluate what we're doing here. When I stop recording, I unsubscribe, and that happens pretty much immediately. Let me adjust and find my share here. Let's try again. There has to be a way to solve this problem. Now, is this even the best way of doing it? Will this really... I guess we could take a look at removing the key when we hit play instead. There has to be a nice way of doing this. What? Yeah, it's not this anymore. Yeah, this is not right. Okay. Remove this. Remove this. Okay, that's Google. I think Google is answer. Java. Wait for 2 methods to complete. Finish. That aren't in thread. Yes, that's what I want to do. That's perfect. Synchronized. No. Threads. Can that be something to consider in this case? Is this even running threads by default? I don't know. 1 second here. Let me pause this. Okay. Okay, there has to be a way to do this. Okay. The key publish responsibility is to publish the keys that are being pressed. Now the key publish is run by another class, the global key listener. Now I'm not sure, but I suspect the listener is running in its own thread. I mean, I'm pretty sure of that. And what we do is we tell the listener every time a key has been pressed from outside the Java world. I believe it works with Mac, I believe it works with Linux. I mean, I could be wrong, I don't know. Either way, once it's pressed, we are sending it to the key publisher. The key publisher has a list of subscribers. If it's 1 or 100, I don't know. It doesn't know, it doesn't care, it just goes through it. It first gets an iterator of the list, basically a sort of reference copy, I believe. So you keep the references even if you were to delete something from the list here. That means once I unsubscribe, you should keep going here until done the last event that it has queued up. And that is how the F9 at the end sneaks in, because we don't wait for these to finish when we get in here. We just continues while this does its own thing. And that results into us removing the shortcut from recording before we actually done recording, before the F9 release, or rather press, has been removed. It's basically taking a little extra time to finish up. Now, I could do a thread sleep, probably add 200 milliseconds and it will work, but this is bad. So, what I want to do is, I want to wait for this. I want to wait for this. You know? When this is done, I want to wait. Here. Wait until the... well, not here. Excuse me. Inside the KeyPublisher. Here. Once you remove it, wait until the... oh! I just had a realization here. There are multiple listeners here. Is there a way for us to know when we are done? So when we are in here, we get the subscriber and we do the trigger, we press the button. And we, I mean, this is very, very hard-headed. A hard-headed way of doing this, but can we best finished? You know what I mean? So once you pressed, we sent the event. It then takes care of activating itself, or letting itself know that it's active. Can we then, after we get here, tell it we are done, and then it can wait by itself? I don't like this way, but maybe it works. Let's try to make that method in the interface and see if we would handle that. Press finished, and we need released finished, or rather released ended, and pressed ended. I think it's a better name. Pressed ended, the same for the released, except it has also ended. So when we subscribe, it's not our business to decide when we want to continue out of this or not. So when we stop recording, maybe this is the place where we want to check if we have finished or not. What this means is I will have to implement two classes that basically sets a boolean, or probably two booleans. Pressing. I have no idea. Let's see how this goes. I'm not a fan of this, and I will look for a way to refactor this so it would make into better code. Pressed. Pressing. No. Pressed. Pressed. Equals true. Pressed. Released. This is past tense. So when we stop, we want to wait here while rest is true or released is true. We are going to thread sleep a little bit and wait in a loop. And because we unsubscribe, this will hit release ended at some point as long as it is active. if we set this to false when we start. So here, when we start, we have to, or rather not here, in the pressed and released, here we go. In the pressed section, we have to add a pressed equals false. I'm gonna invert this because I realize this can be very confusing because this is a negative in a way. So let's invert this. Is pressing. Are we pressing? Yes, true. Is releasing? Are we releasing something? Yes, also true. But we want it to be false once we end it. Yeah, this is way more readable. Is it good? No, I don't like this, but it should work. So is pressing is false is right. Is releasing is false. It's also right by default, because this is the default state when it's not doing anything. But if it's releasing or pressing, it's true. And what we want to do is we want to make sure we wait for them when we are stopping ourselves from recording. We're unsubscribing from our listener. We want to make sure we're no longer recording anything before we continue. Let's see here. Let's surround this with a try catch and see if this works. I'm not using any breakpoints now. I'm simply going to test. Let's see if it works. Hold on. Yes, I need to add this to another method here. But I don't think I need to do anything here, so we don't need this here. So this can remain empty. So let's play again and try it once again and take a look. It is playing F9, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, right jump, right jump. Okay, F9 to stop. Let's play F10. It's moving. It's doing stuff. It ended. Maybe that worked. Let's try it one more time. F9, record. Okay, walking left, walking right, walking left, walking right. Doing things, you know, pressing E, pressing escape, going right, pressing F9 to stop. F10 to play. It started immediately now. It worked. F10 again. Do the same. Yes, it works. It's alive. Repair. It works. F10 again. One more, just to be sure. I don't know why it works. It's one of those things in coding. It just suddenly works for no reason that you cannot explain. Okay, let's make a new recording. F9, jumping back, jumping forward, jumping back, going left, jumping forward, going right, standing here and parking. F9, done. F10, do the same. Jumping back, jumping forward, jumping back, going left, going forward, right, and position, and finished. It's perfect. Oh my god, I hope it works. Okay, let's try something more complex, because we did have issues with inaccuracies, and hopefully that was caused by our bad pressed key only once annotation, or whatever we named it. It was supposed to only trigger annotations once you press it down. Once you hold it down, it should trigger once, not hundreds times, which it was doing. So in reality, when we are trying to play back a recording, we're basically pressing A 100 times before releasing it, and that makes it, well, work really hard and probably be inaccurate. So I'm gonna go into this corner. This is our new corner. I'm gonna press F9 to start recording. Okay, let's run around the house and see if we get back. Let's do a little crazy movement. You know, it doesn't matter what to do. You know, we should be able to do whatever we want, and we should be able to end up in the same place. That's what the macro recorder is supposed to do. It's supposed to be recording your key presses and movement and whatever. So let's go back here. F9 to stop. Take a little breather. Breathe out. Press F10 and see if it works, and if you end up here. This is where I want to end up. F10. Taking coffee break while it does its thing. Oh, almost! It's pretty damn close. Like really, really, really close. This is a new record. It's never been this accurate before in the playback of a recording. Okay, can I press E? Yes, okay. I'm gonna try to automate the turnip pickups. I basically have to hit the turnip, right, and go forward. Yeah, perfect. Okay, let's see. Okay, the first turnip. First turnip. F9, record. Okay, E. I'm gonna do the farming thing, which is so boring, you know. Okay, I missed. Okay, go back. Okay, I'm gonna go back here to the start again. I'm not moving the mouse on purpose because we're not done with that just yet. Okay, right there, F9 to stop, and now I'm gonna press F10 and hopefully it'll do the same thing. I wish. Okay, hands-free farming here. If it works. It doesn't work. Or rather, I missed. Yeah, for this to work, to be this accurate, you will have to be very consistent with what you're doing. Why are you going forward? Lag. Huh. Well, it has issues, but let me think. We'll just decide here. I'm going to be recording for about 30 more minutes. It's going to be a little short today because I have things to do, which is one of the reasons I started a bit late with the recording today. Tomorrow I may end up doing a little longer recording sessions. It depends how far we get. So let's see. It seems to mostly work now, at least. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to commit the changes I have. It works somehow. But first, git checkout, branch, session 9. Let's push that to session 9. Yes, okay, really? What? Huh. It worked now. Did I do a mistake? Oh, yeah, I did. Whoops. Okay. Anyhow, now we've saved the changes. We know it works now, whatever you have now, but we have to clean it up. We have to find out if we can make it even more accurate or consider whether or not to not care right now. The risk of not caring right now is that later it becomes even more difficult to fix because we want to add a mouse listener. Currently we only have a key listener. And that is going to be a bit challenging, and I'm starting to have my doubts we're going to be able to finish this at the end of our 2-week project, and that's, you know, if we don't, we don't, whatever, we'll move on to our next thing. Let's see. Let's remove those two. We're not going to use those. Hold on. We can use it there. While pressed ended. While pressed, while this one has pressed, ended. Wait, something's wrong here. Let me go back to the code here. To the macro recorder subscriber. Let's take a look here. If you're pressing or releasing, no, this is wrong. If we're not pressing and we're not releasing, both of these should be false before we're done. Okay, let's cancel out that idea for now. Let's just try hitting play again and see if it will change the way it behaves. Because currently our macro recorder app is not quite consistent, and I can't quite figure out why that is. So if I were to pick tulips, I'm probably not going to hit it unless I'm precisely accurate. And also because in our game, our character has it faces a certain direction. I suspect it may have something to do with that also. So let's try to be exactly in the middle of this one. There, ish. F9 to record. Pressing E. Let's walk and get some turnips. Move a little left there so I can hit it. A little left again. A little left again. A little left. Missed that one. Go back a little bit. A little left again. And this one. And now we're gonna go back. No, anytime. Okay, we're gonna park exactly about the same place we were last time. About there. Okay, F9 to stop. Stop recording. Now I'm gonna press F10 and see if it's similar. Now, there's almost no way it will be similar because every crop is a little different because you hand plant them. But let's just see if it seems similar. Pressing F10, nothing's happening. Okay, why is that? Why is F10 not doing anything? Am I pressing F10? Yeah, I am. Okay, F9 is also broken. Everything is broken now. That's not a good sign. All I did. Ah, yes. Yeah, we definitely had to read up a little bit more about concurrency, threading, and get more into that part of Java here. This is actually a good project for that. Gives me an opportunity to figure out why this is the case. Now, currently it's stuck here. Wait. Oh. No, it was right. If we are pressing or we is releasing, if we're in the action of doing those things, whichever, we're gonna keep looping. It was right the first time. It was the opposite. Okay, good. But then we know that works. So let's then take a look here. I would rather push all responsibility of pressing, releasing, and finishing it up. You know? So when you unsubscribe, you are stuck in this function until you actually are finished and functionally unsubscribed, if that makes sense. How can I do that? I would have to give every subscriber their own additional logic I can attach into. Perhaps I can turn it into a abstract class. Currently it's an interface. If I were to change this, I create an abstract class and instead have these as the default. What's the default? How do this? Or rather abstract methods. And then implement these myself. I can then reuse the code. So our key subscriber is going to contain a private boolean. Private boolean, and it's going to be is pressing by default false. Is releasing by default also false. But I do want to have access to this, so I'm going to add a getter on both of them, but no setter, because setting is going to be done here. Pressed ended. It's basically you telling it. Pressed has ended. When that happens, we're gonna change that to is pressing is no longer false. Although we could probably just add a setter here, and that may be just as well. Let's do that. Just use getter setters for now. We're not gonna be work a lot in this class anyway, so it should be fine, and it shouldn't make anything confusing. So here we're gonna add set pressing to false, because now we're done. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, maybe. What's this error here? What? Oh yeah, in the interface. Oh crap. Okay, let's undo this. We keep the interface. We will add an abstract that the other ones use. How did I do that? That's a good question. It's been a long time since I actually have to use an abstract in Java. It's not public. Why is it not public? It's not public. Oh, whoa. It's public after or before? Yeah, public before. Okay, there we go. Ah, it works. Set releasing false. So while either is true, but when is it true? It's true when we subscribe. No, it's not. We have to set it true manually, but it should be done in the code itself. And that should happen when you're pressing something. You know? But if we do it this way, it would mean we'd have to manually set this inside the pressed implementation. So perhaps we will do something a little bit different. Public. Protected. Public void listener pressing. Let's see if we can do a little trickery here. Make this work somehow. So we have a listener pressing and we have a listener releasing. And these are going to call the pressed. And basically call this implementation, which we have to create in the, well, implementation. Let's see here. Okay, it's fine. Let's now take a look here. And let's change this to listener pressing. And that way, whenever we trigger this, we're gonna set this to true, because now we're in the process of pressing. Oh my god, this is incredibly convoluted. But if this works, I'm gonna keep to this and move on, because we cannot spend 1 week just fixing one issue. That is important, but it will not make or break the project. So when you're pressing, it's true. When you're done pressing, which happens in the iteration here, you set it to false. You're pressing. Tell is pressing, it's set to true. What? No. I don't think this is working. This is not. I don't think. Maybe. Yeah, we have to learn. We have to figure out more about concurrency here. Definitely. I'm going to do that. But I will do that until tomorrow and decide whether or not this is worth pursuing. If it is not worth pursuing, well, then we are not going to fix that. What is this? We don't need this anymore. Anything else? Let's try and see. this? Remove this. We don't need this. Let's run this as a debugger if we can. Oh yeah, we changed this to interface abstract, so we have to extend it. Let's try it one more time. Running as debug. Let's go into a corner here. F9 to record. Let's move around. Let's see if it keeps the F9 or not at the end, or yeah. Let's see here. Okay. 9 stopped. F10 to play recording, which should hopefully trigger something. Apparently not. We broke it. Okay. What have we made? What have we changed now while we're messing around here? Okay, we have changed naming. We changed the subscriber slightly. We made it in extend, so implement. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset and we're going to try it again. There we go. Stopping, debugging. Try once more. Make sure it works. Nine. Let's see. Go around here. Corner and press F9. F10, I missed. Pressed F11, I meant F10, there we go. It's playing back. Am I not running in debug? We're missing completely. Boy. Let's try one more time. Hit play at the same spot. Not moving, where am I? I'm blind. Okay, same spot. F10. Oh yeah, it's because of our sprint level. My bad, stopping, pressing F10. I still have the issue with pressing F10 cancelling out the actions, which all the buttons that are still pressing are not being released. So I will have to add something there. So once we unsubscribe, we have to release the keys as well. Okay, let's see here. F10, play again. Now I have stamina, so let's just see if it at least resembles something we did. It does. It's pretty much spot on. F10 again, and see if it remains consistent. I think we stopped now because it wasn't quite done. Okay, F10, there. Pretty consistent, I'd say. Let's wait a little bit more until we have our engine back, and then I'm gonna press F10 again. Okay, F10. F10. Okay. Okay, it's pretty spot on. Stopping. Playing. What happened now? What the hell? Yeah, it's definitely the threading. We are messing up with threads and such. So that is a challenge. What I'm going to do is, until next time, I'm going to think a little bit. I'm going to spend time thinking and doing some research. I'm not going to be doing any coding, and if I were to do it's just going to be drafts, and I'm going to reset before our next stream just to have a better idea of what to do, because I do want to keep all the work in the streams, all the work we're doing at least. And now it's holding down shift because it canceled itself while it was recording, and we have to definitely handle that. So I'm going to add a new to-do list that I will hopefully, well, do. so this is to do related to task ish. Check why F9 remains a list. We have to release keys on and stop. What else? What other issues we have? Replace the horrible thread sleep system. Now here's the thing. The first system we had in place was pretty good, but it didn't quite work and it had very unpredictable behavior. And what we've learned afterwards, that it may have something to do with the issue we had with the holding the key down. If we basically store hundreds of key events just by holding down the button, and we have fixed that since then. So what I want to do, I want to make a test with the scheduler again, the executioner, or whatever you call it, and see if that will work now that we're not spamming it with actions to do. I'm also going to do a little research to figure out how it works, if it's spawning new threads, or if it creates itself after a certain time, or if it creates everything at the same time but waits. I don't know. That's important things to figure out, and that will decide whether or not we can use this. Check the scheduler executor thing. Does it run all scheduled actions at once? Does it start create thread only after it has been started or delayed? Those are the questions we have to think about and figure out. And if this is the case and this would work, then hopefully we can find a way to solve this. But with this, we have to also solve another problem, which is the cancellation, the stopping of the playback. How do we stop playback scheduled tasks when using the scheduler? Perhaps we can use the scheduler actually by making them run consecutively, one after another. Instead of scheduling everything up front, we'll schedule maybe 2 or 3 at once and wait until the end, and then schedule the next 2 and 3 at once. And maybe that would solve the problems with timing. No, it wouldn't work, because we are currently storing the delay from one key to the next. So I guess I can try one more key with the scheduler and see if it would work. So let's see here. I'm gonna add that here. So check the scheduler thing on how do we stop the playback schedule task when using the schedule. Check why F9 runs the list, because we try to remove the shortcut before the listener has finished. And this is the reason we discovered this. Release keys on F10 stop. This is also something we do. You have to make sure keys are placed at the end. And this is when we cancel them. And of course replace the horrible sleep system, which is pretty much the first thing we're gonna do in order to do the others here. So this is our to-dos research, pretty much. And I will see if I can't do these before, without doing any coding that I'm gonna save. I may do some doodling and just learn a little bit by myself, so I can then tell you about it tomorrow. Probably around the same time, about 1.5 hours earlier than now, I believe. Maybe a little early. We'll see what we'll do tomorrow, because it's Saturday, I may have more time, so maybe I'll do an earlier stream. But probably I'll try to stick to the same time, so I won't overwork and get tired of this, because I want to keep doing this. And that's it for this stream. Thank you all for joining, and see you next time. Bye bye.